welcome to the neighborhood. Today we are in Franklin, Tennessee, an equestrian's dream neighborhood, historic history, and of course, friendly Southern comfort. Today we are going to get to meet all the locals and find out what this neighborhood is all about. We are here with Logan, owner of TN Balloon. Now, you started this company and you provide hot air balloon rides 7 days a week, 2 times a day, and you actually grew up like going on hot air balloon rides. Can you tell me a little bit how it evolved into you owning your own business?
Yeah, basically grew up flying with my dad from an early age. I always say it's involuntary, so how I got into the sport. But grew up flying with him every time I could. None of my other siblings were really interested in ballooning, so I kind of had a love for it at an early age, and after going to college and graduating, decided to do it full time.
Now, what can visitors expect when they go on a hot air balloon ride with you?
When we go on a balloon ride, we do either sunrise or sunset, so we'll take off right at sunrise like we did this morning, or we'll take off a little bit before sunset. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours for the whole experience. We get an hour of flight time. Basically, you can just bring a camera and expect beautiful views the whole time. It's really calm and serene. Get ready for an enjoyable, fun time.
That's so true, and you're so calm and collected because, like I said, I'm terrified of heights, and literally when you go up there with you just kind of make it very calm, like, I've got this under control. Like, how do you keep it together so well?
Yeah, just experience. It just comes natural. I love being in the air, love flying. The views are incredible, and you got to make decisions based on what's happening. You can't get flustered by it. So ballooning's so calm and serene that it's just enjoyable.
Now, is there one thing that you hope that a visitor will take away from their experience on the hot air balloon ride?
We just hope that everybody sees it as the most enjoyable thing they've ever done in their life. A lot of people will only go on one balloon ride in their entire life, so we have 1 hour to make a good impression on them and give them something that they'll remember forever. So remember that it's an enjoyable experience and something that they'll cherish and kind of keep memorable with that they did with their loved ones or their family.
If someone was visiting and you wanted to give them an idea of what Franklin is all about, what would you say Franklin means to you?
Franklin, it's a big city with a small town feel, I guess. It used to be a real small town when I was growing up, but it's grown. There's a lot of people that have moved here, a lot of stuff that's changed, but it still has that small town feel. Downtown Franklin's still pretty much the same.
Well, you need to come here if you are in Franklin, Tennessee. And where can people find you, Logan?
The best place to find us is on the website, www.tnballoon.com. So like Tennessee, TN Balloon.
If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind hot air balloon ride experience that you will never forget, you need to come right here in Franklin to TN Balloon.
1783 was the first manned hot air balloon flight, so well before the Wright brothers were born, they were flying hot air balloons. 2 French brothers were named the Montgolfier brothers, and they were paper makers. As they burned their scrap paper, they watched the bits float up the chimney. They thought this smoke had some magical lifting properties. So they started filling paper bags with smoke, watched them rise to the top of their ceiling and drop back down. At that point they realized they were onto something, so they built a linen bag 105 feet in circumference, hoisted it over a fire with everything they could think of that would smoke. They thought it was this thick black smoke that gave them lift. In reality, it was the smoke that helped clog the pores of the linen, helped it to retain some of the heat. They cut it loose, watched it fly up about 1,000 feet and flew for a mile. First passengers were a rooster, a duck, and a sheep. Readily available in Europe at the time, they put them in, they heated up with this thick smoke fire, they cut them loose, they watched them fly away. When they came down, they were alive and well, so they figured it was time for man to take flight. Montgolfier brothers were afraid of heights, actually didn't want anything to do with flying. They built the balloon and that was their input. They talked to the king, and the king wanted a criminal to be the first passenger. They figured they'd sacrifice him if it went bad. But 2 friends, Pilatre de Rosier and Marquis de Arlandau, 2 other Frenchmen, said they didn't want this criminal of having the honor of being the first man to fly if it did go well. So they hopped in, they heated up with this thick smoke fire again. They had them tied down to the ground. Once they heated up, they cut the rope, they flew up. There was no burner on board, so they went up. Eventually it cooled off and they came crashing back down. So if you can imagine, in 1783, some farmers are out in the field and they see this bag falling from the sky, and it's billowing this thick black smoke out of it. As it comes down, the farmers think that it's evil, so as they land, the farmers chase off the friends and destroy the balloon. Being French and loving their wine and champagne, they decided that on their future flights they'd bring a bottle with them. When they landed, they'd share a little champagne with the landowner in hopes that they wouldn't destroy their future balloons. So still to this day, all over the world, after each flight, we celebrate with a champagne toast. The winds have welcomed us with softness. The sun has blessed us with his warm hands. We've flown so high and so well that God has joined us in her laughter and set us gently back into the loving arms of Mother Earth. Cheers.
Cheers. Logan, that was an amazing experience. Definitely, I call you should be like the instructor for people who are scared of, you know, flying. So, guys, what did you think of it? I know we got to bond a little bit. It was a great, I feel like part of the family.
It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
It was
Your
wonderful.
shoulder was wonderful. Like, I just felt so safe being able to lean on you. Well, is there any impressions that you have that, you know, what you would say to someone who might be taking their first hot air balloon ride, what they can expect if they come here and hang with Logan and take a nice little
It's awesome.
flight?
It's awesome. If you're scared of heights, don't worry.
Yeah,
No problem.
easy up and easy down.
Easy up.
No problem.
Be totally prepared for an enjoyable experience.
I definitely agree with all of that. And another important thing is make sure to wear pants.
My name is Renee Evans, and I am a tour guide with Franklin on Foot, the premier walking tour company in Franklin, Tennessee.
And premiere it is indeed. And actually, Renee has been nice enough to give us our own private tour here today in Franklin. Now, Franklin has so much rich history here, and I know that you have the inside scoop on all of it.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize that Franklin was actually founded as a planned community way back in 1799. This town was laid out and designed by a man named Abram Morey, and he purchased this land right here from a Revolutionary War soldier who had been given the land in exchange for his service in the Revolutionary War. The Civil War came to Franklin before the war was a year old. Nashville had been captured by the Union Army, and because of its proximity to Nashville and because the railroad line ran through town, the Union Army came to Franklin and they took over this town and occupied it. And this building served as Union Army headquarters during the years that Franklin was occupied. We had a horrible, horrible battle take place here in town. It's come to be known as the Battle of Franklin. It's one of the most significant Civil War battles that most people have never even heard of. It was a brief battle. It only lasted about 5 hours. It took place on November 30 of 1864. And by the time the fighting was over, this town was left with about 2,000 dead soldiers on the ground and,
Oh my gosh.
and another 7,000 or 8,000 wounded soldiers left behind. Virtually any building in downtown Franklin that was here in 1864 that is still standing, you can count on it having been used as a hospital. And there are still bloodstains on the floors of some of these buildings from where doctors amputated
Really?
arms and legs right in front of the windows. So the Confederate statue was put up by an organization called the United Daughters of the Confederacy. And a lot of these little towns, they thought the perfect way to remember their men who had fought and died during the Civil War was to put up a statue of a Confederate soldier. And the price tag was $2,700. That was an enormous amount of money. The economy in the South had been completely and totally devastated. These ladies started fundraising, and it took them more than 16 years to come up with the money for this statue. So here was the base,
Yeah.
and here was the soldier, and he was going up sideways, being pulled up by these ropes and pulleys, and they had horses holding the tension, and the horses were backing up, and the statue was inching up.
Yeah.
And everybody in town was down here watching this because it was big news in
Of
this
course it
little
was
town.
huge news, yeah.
Huge news. One guy, a Confederate veteran of all people, was paying no attention to what was going on down here, and he was taking his horse and wagon into town, and he let his horse run into one of the horses that was holding one of those lines, and the statue began to swing. And the only damage that was done was this great big chunk had been taken out of the middle of his hat. They went ahead and they put him up with his hat broken. They thought, nobody's really going to notice. Now, people ask us all the time, who's the guy that stands out in the middle of the public square? And we have a nickname for him. Chip. And everybody in town talks about Chip. And when you refer to Chip in Franklin, everybody knows what you're talking about.
All right, now there's a really interesting story here.
Yes.
About the Blue House.
Yes.
In Franklin.
This house belonged to a woman named Sally Carter. In addition to being rich and beautiful and widowed, Sally was also one of the staunchest Confederate supporters here in Franklin. That courthouse is within spitting distance of her front porch. That would have driven her crazy.
Yeah.
But she knew that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, right? Instead of being hostile to those Union soldiers, Sally would throw dinner parties, and she would invite them to come and be her guests. And by the end of the evening, she had learned stuff that those guys didn't even realize had escaped their lips. And then she needed to get this information out of town, right? She needed to get her information to the Confederate side. Well, to leave town, she had to go down to that courthouse. She had to get a pass.
She had to get permission.
She had to get permission, and she knew that her wagon or her carriage were going to be searched. Sally knew the risks that she was taking. She could tuck little notes with information in her hair. The stopper in her whiskey jug was an old corn cob that had been hollowed out. She could tuck information into that corn cob, stick it back in the whiskey jug, and then offer a swig of whiskey to the soldier who was going to be searching her wagon. And they wore as many as a dozen petticoats underneath those dresses.
Yeah.
They say some of these women sewed family silverware into their dresses, but you kept your valuables on your person at all time because it was safe. She lived to be 87 years old, and she died in this house.
And now this house is
Chef's Music. It has been the home of Chef's Music since, I believe it's the 1970s. I bought a piano from Chef's Music a number of years ago.
Oh, this is so great.
Ron Chef, the owner of this business, is just part of the fabric of Franklin.
Now we are here on Main Street, one of visitors and locals' favorite spots to check out.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we like to call Main Street in downtown Franklin America's favorite Main Street.
Oh, I love that.
And we keep being named as the best place to raise your family, start a business, celebrate Halloween for all kinds of different reasons. But one of them is the street festivals that we put on down here. Main Street Festival is last weekend in April, and that's a big arts and crafts festival. We close the streets to traffic and line Main Street with white tents, and arts and crafts vendors come from all over the country to set up down here. We do Pumpkin Fest the Saturday before Halloween.
That sounds so fun.
It is. We set up a stage. We'll have music down here. Again, arts and crafts vendors, food, and everybody loves the opportunity to just walk down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And then one of our favorite events is Dickens of a Christmas, which is the second full weekend in December. And that is our Victorian-themed Christmas festival.
Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens. We have characters from Charles Dickens stories roaming the streets.
Even a Scrooge?
We have a Scrooge.
Oh,
we have
this
a
is
Jacob
so
Marley. The Cratchit family is out. The street festivals are some of the things that really bring people together.
Yeah.
They give people a sense of place. They give people a sense of community. The Franklin Theater was first opened in 1937. It was the first air-conditioned building in this county, and it showed first-run movies for 70 years.
What do you think is the best part about being a Franklin resident?
Oh gosh, I have to pick one?
I know there's a lot.
There are so many great things about Franklin. The sense of community, and you're surrounded by people who know you and who love you and who embrace you. It takes a village to raise children, and that is so true about Franklin.
Where can people find you?
The company is Franklin on Foot.
Yes, Franklin on Foot.
You can go to franklinonfoot.com. Franklin on Foot offers historic tours, ghost tours, food tours, so the foodie in you if you want that taste of Southern cuisine.
And who doesn't?
Come hungry. Bike tours, there's a whole menu of different tours available. So check out franklinonfoot.com and experience Franklin the way it's meant to be experienced.
And tours are available Monday through Sunday. And if you really want to feel like a local, then you need to come here to Franklin on Foot.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Attention Medicare recipients. The Inogen One Portable Oxygen Concentrator may now be available at little or no cost to you. Call 800-508-0945 to order yours today. Inogen oxygen concentrators are portable and make oxygen from the air around you. They're light, quiet, and battery operated to go everywhere you go. And we have a full line of portable oxygen units to fit a wide range of budgets. If you're on Medicare, you may even qualify to get your Inogen unit at little or no cost to you. Go back to joining friends for the breakfast special, make spending time with the grandkids easier, or start attending your religious services again. Call Inogen now for a free information kit and a free no-obligation consultation on our complete line of affordable portable oxygen products. And anyone on Medicare or with eligible insurance plans may qualify to get an Inogen One at little or no cost. Call 800-508-0945. That's 800-508-0945.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. Both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-590-8551.
We are here at Puckett's with Andy, the owner.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for welcoming us to your food home.
So glad to have you, Nicole. Welcome to Puckett's.
Aw, it is so great to be here. Now, this is the spot to go for any kind of food, really, any kind of Southern love food here in Franklin. Tell me a little bit about how it all began.
Well, strangely enough, it began in a little country grocery store in Leapers Fort. And I'm talking about a small country market. Gas stations out front, little produce, little meat, everything that a small community would need. And we started cooking in that small little market, and little by little started building a reputation on our smoked barbecue and our burgers and all our Southern comfort foods. So
you went from essentially kind of like a tiny grocery store with some good fixins to literally the town spot here in Franklin.
Well, we've been blessed to be that. As you look around the room, you know, you see our mayor maybe sitting over in the corner, police officers, the judges, and then community folks gather here. So in these tables here in this restaurant, many, many real estate deals have been passed around.
Tell me a little bit about, you know, the history here.
Well, it is a family-owned restaurant. Me and my wife started. Our 3 children were raised coming in, helping pat out the hamburgers during the morning, getting the restaurant ready, and they'd go to school, and then they'd come home after school, and they'd help around the restaurant. So that's the way it all started. And then as it's grown now, my children have grown. My eldest daughter, Claire, she's the director of our operations, so she's over all of our restaurant managers throughout our company. We now have 6 locations. And she's a great help to us. My middle daughter works in our catering division, and my son, he's graduating college this year. He lives in Chattanooga, and we're opening in Chattanooga in just 2 weeks, so he'll be a part of that one.
I have some friends in Chattanooga, so I'm telling you, they would love it.
Yes, well, Chattanooga's a cool town, so you'll need to visit it too.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what would you say is your claim to fame dish?
Well, I think the barbecue. It's an 18-hour process. Old style, absolutely, old style Memphis style. So you take cherry wood and we smoke it over the cherry wood for 9 hours, then we wrap it and we hold it in the cabinet for another 9 hours before it's served. So it's just a very tender, no sauce needed. But our barbecue just recently got ranked 10th best barbecue in the nation.
In the nation.
Yeah, so we feel really pleased about that as a signature item. But what really drives me is hospitality. Yeah. I've got a servant's heart. I love pleasing people. It just warms my heart, and to see people happy just makes me happy. We want it to be a total experience, not just about the food, not just about the service, but also about the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a unique concept that we've got going here. We have live music here every night, and here in Music City, we've got the best musicians, the best songwriters that the country can offer. So it's just a blast. And they come right here and they perform right off of the stage.
What do you think it is that makes Franklin literally like one of a kind, like no other neighborhood out there?
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, everybody wants to be that neighborhood, and we got such beautiful history here, and they've done such a great job of preserving the history here and the beautiful buildings. You know, a lot of towns you'd go into could have this type of feel to it, but a lot of the history was wiped out with development. Well, we found a way to combine growth with preservation.
We're definitely going to have to dig in.
Absolutely.
Because this looks absolutely phenomenal. We've got some fried chicken, I mean, baked beans, macaroni
The
and
ultimate
cheese.
comfort food,
Yeah,
yes,
this
mac
is
and cheese.
literally, I mean, I don't know if I can go back home after all of this. This is amazing. This looks great.
So fresh. There you go.
This macaroni, it's like, this is really great.
Yeah. You've got to try the barbecue.
All right, Andy, I have never had official barbecue pulled pork from the best place in Franklin. All right,
Well,
now this
thank
is,
you.
you said, one of the top in the country.
Absolutely, no sauce needed.
No sauce needed. Okay, that's a good thing. I'm definitely going to try some of this. This looks amazing.
All right.
And you have some squash over here.
Yeah, squash casserole and then sweet potato mash.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet potato mash.
Oh yeah,
I've never
so
even had
healthy.
that. That's great. Let's try this barbecue and see what it's all about. Oh my gosh, this is. And it doesn't need sauce. You weren't lying about that.
Not at all. We use a dry rub on the outside and then slow smoke over cherry wood. It's all about time, time and care.
I'm not even really usually a pork person. You make me want to be with that.
Well, we've converted you.
And now we have your fried chicken, which has a very special batter, I should say, on the outside.
Yes.
All right. Is this one of the mayor's favorites as well?
Yeah. Mayor's going to pretend like he eats healthy, but he'll come in here and eat fried chicken.
Oh, yeah, he has to when he's here. Let's try it. They don't make like this in New York.
Well, thank you.
Now, Andy, you come up with all these recipes.
Well, yeah, me and my team. Yeah, we love challenge each other and always trying to get better. You know, in the restaurant business, if you're not improving, you're dying. So we're always challenging each other to come up with something better.
Exactly, and you're doing a really great job. What do you get inspired by to create your dishes?
Big smiles, laughter,
Aww.
you know, people that would just enjoy the food, that inspires me.
Well, then that means I should definitely come here more often when I visit Franklin. All right, I will be back again for sure. Great macaroni, great baked beans, chicken. And of course, you converted me to pork, which
Yes.
I'm not even, I mean, I hate to admit it, but it was amazing. Like, I
Yes.
hate to admit that I'm not into pork in front of you, the master, but it was amazing.
Well, I'm
Andy.
glad you tried it.
It was so great. If you're looking for great people, great times, and the official local experience here in Franklin, then you have to come to Puckett's Grocery and Restaurant.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
So, this is a perfect way to end our episode. I say we do a little cheers. Because
Sure.
this has been a great experience, and I really feel like a local thanks to you.
Well, thank you, Nicole.
I know you have a lot of locations opening, so we'll probably visit you again in another
Yes,
neighborhood.
please do.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, let's do a little cheers, and we will see you next time on
The Neighborhood.
Neighborhood.